So, Cordia, you think Rainey's giving me hotcakes this morning? It's like the meme I put up. Guess who woke up with this morning to no sex and no pancakes? This guy. So, no, Rainey is very good about making food. She made a great lasagna last night, which was amazing. And we made it for Dave, who didn't quite make it over yesterday. But that's okay. He had car problems and he lives 2 hours away, and he volunteers his time to come and help me paint. But that's okay. And Rainey made him a glorious meal, so we sat by ourselves and ate it. I see him out there in the wings. He called in already, and I ain't bringing him in quite yet. So sit there for about a minute there, Dave, while I get my coffee on. And so good morning, by the way. Happy Sunday. My hair's still sticking up. Look at that. And I thought I wet it down. So it's Sunday. It's cool here. It's supposed to get warm this week. I'm having my coffee. Rainey's upstairs. We had all the kids spending the night at a friend's farm where he had a bunch of all the other kids with his kids. He had like 10 kids there yesterday. And of course, and Rainey and I thought it's a night without children. And we dropped them off about 2 yesterday afternoon. And what should happen is sure right around 8:30, 9 o'clock, Ellie calls, needs to come home. So we didn't have a lonely evening last night. And but it was okay. And hey, Dave.
Morning.
Let me see if I can get this branding down off of here. There we go. Now it's a boring screen. Well, wait, can we do it with? I think so. We could. Whatever.
As long as you have a big ad right over my face.
That's it. Yeah, let me get you there. No, I like it to look nice when people come in. And
I driving home Friday night, and I think I was coming through Cannon Falls when I thought, the guy behind me must have his brights on. He is illuminating the road in front of me. And then I looked at the car in front of me and I thought, his lights seem really bright. Do I have lights on? And I'm turning my light knob and stuff, and I can see a change, but it's not a drastic change. And the more I drove, the dimmer it was getting. And I looked over and I saw my battery gauge going down, and I thought, oh my God, I threw a belt.
Oh boy.
So I did what every red-blooded American man does. I thought, how fast can I get this car going so that when it stalls out, I can coast for as far as possible?
Yes.
And so I won't say on a recorded device, which could or could not be used against me, what the speedometer read, but it might have been slightly more than 40. And so I was flying down the road, and I noticed the semi behind me blinked his lights a few times, which meant my taillights were probably going out. And then I realized all the instruments on the dashboard were doing weird things, and one by one my dash lights went out and stuff. And it was
I'll tell you something. Also, if you're a red-blooded American male, you know what all of that means?
What?
It means, oh, there goes the extra money I had saved up.
Yeah, exactly.
Don't ever tell yourself, hey, I finally got a little extra cash, because your car's going to go, what?
What
was that?
Oh, I could use a new alternator. So I did make it back to my garage stall. I was really, really happy with that. And pulled in, and I popped the hood, and I'm looking to see if the gauge is there, and the car goes and shuts off. And I went, okay, well, I'm home. Well,
I made it home.
And I thought, there's nothing I can do at 1 something in the morning. I'll just go to bed. Could have been worse. I could have been out on the highway someplace. So went upstairs, went to bed, went down there yesterday. And of course, GMC and all their wisdom said, let's make it as impossible to fix anything on this car without going through a mechanic.
Right.
So
one of our certified mechanics.
Yeah. So I look on
otherwise your warranty will be dead.
Yeah.
Grumpy Stack. Yes. Grumpy Stack by 17th century standards. He was a bat out of hell.
Yeah.
At 40 miles per hour.
Oh, I was way over 40, but I won't say what the number was.
I won't say what the number was. Well, good morning, everybody over there in the chat room, by the way. Good to have you here. Grumpy Stack, of course, is here. And who else we got this morning? I thought I saw Cordia. At least I think I talked to her. That's how bad my brain is this morning. Remeldian is here. The Spirit Heart Gods and Goddesses. That's Cordia, for those of you who don't know. I hope I didn't give away your secret identity. Daniel Ondra is here. Good to see you. Carly Sagan. Good to see you. And
Scotty's just that way. Hey, Bruce Wayne is here. He's got the little Batman symbol going, and Clark Kent's here too with this little Superman thing. Hey, how you guys doing?
Clark and Wayne. Bruce. So Matthew Sainsbury's here, all the way from Barbados. And let's see, Matt Finn is here, I said, and I didn't quite finish that. Matt Finn, good to see you, brother. Glad to have you here. Pearson Castile is here from Missouri. Elderberry, good morning. And who else we got that's showing their face anyway? Yes, I'm good to be seen, am I not? Yes. Well, there we go. That's all we got this morning. That's showing their face. Matt Finn, that's when you start rocking forward, forward and aft in your driver's seat to get that extra momentum. Yeah. Like I've done that. It's subconscious. Like, come on.
Okay, I have to admit I was doing that.
Oh, I used to have those. Well, you've probably all done this. I've had cars break down on me before, but have you ever been so low on gas that you think, I have got to get to it? Do I even have enough to make it to a gas station?
Oh, I know.
And then it does the little chug.
Good.
Shit. And you go, oh, there's a gas station up there. I see it. It's like 6 blocks ahead on this busy street, and it's like, thank God I'm in it's a downhill, because the car finally went and it's done. And I'm still about 1.5 blocks from the gas station, but I'm going downhill. And you're like, please, stoplight, do not turn red on me. The stoplight that's between you and the gas station. And it went yellow, and you step on the gas, still nothing happens. But I coasted through the yellow. And good thing I didn't have to stop, because it was on the left-hand side, and I just veered over right into the driveway of the gas station and up to the pump, and there it stopped.
And you were on the wrong side of the pump.
Yeah.
Oh, damn.
Oh, well, gas prices, by the way, speaking of gas prices are set to go really high now, because guess
awesome.
what? OPEC just raised the oil or diminished their gas production, which is going to raise the price of their gas. Guess where we're getting a lot of our gas now that we don't get it domestically anymore? Through OPEC. This was news as of yesterday. And so, folks, be prepared for a long, hard, expensive winter if you live in any kind of climate that needs you to turn on heat in the wintertime. Not to be the bearer of good tidings.
Well, I know how I'm voting.
You're what?
I know how I'm voting. I don't care what they do with the gas.
Yeah. So there you go. So money going out this year. Because the Democrats are losing, they don't care anymore, says Doug Stack. Somehow it's Trump's, but it is Trump's fault. Yeah. It'll be interesting to see although I've heard no ovations toward this at all, if the Democrats in power start finding a way to go back to domestic oil production without saying Trump was right in what he was doing. So,
well, if they truly want to be green, buying gas from the people we're buying it from is not a green way to go.
that's right. So, no, it's not over there. It's just that we aren't the ones doing the green damage. We're just buying it from people who do. And so it's not really anything.
But they have
So-
the dirtiest oil fields that
I got to
around.
tell you, the left has done the most damage to this country that I have ever seen from an objective, non-biased point of view. They might have hearts of gold for people, but they have run us into the ground. And you know what? Even if you have a heart of gold and you support them, you're going to be paying through the ass this winter for gas and heating oil. Thank you, Joe Biden, who I don't think makes any of those decisions anyway. He's just the puppet master. Not the puppet master. He's the puppet
He's the
being
chief
master.
puppet.
It starts to make me angry. I try to keep my cool about politics and talking, but this stuff, when it starts hitting us, when we're already a little behind financially because the economy sucks. Thank you again, current administration. If you're watching, folks, and connecting the dots, it ain't something Trump did to us. It's the current administration that has run us into the ground. And now the oil prices, now we don't have domestic oil anymore, which Trump had us independent domestically with oil. And now we've got OPEC, who we buy our gas from, is raising their prices because they're diminishing their production. And guess what that's going to cost us? They see America in the position it's in, and they go, hey, we're going to make a lot of money this winter.
Yeah, let's fuck them really good.
So I got to tell you, I'm about done. I'm about done with the whole left being in power. November's coming quick, folks. You better vote to, you know what I'm going to say? I'm not going to tell you what party to vote for. I'm going to tell you, why don't you vote what's going to better the country rather than your political persuasion or your feel-goodisms or
as we say in the lodge, vote for the betterment of the
Joe
lodge.
Biden is such a nice old man. I don't really give a flying rat's ass anymore. It's all about, is your country running the way it's supposed to run? Is the economy doing what it's supposed to do? Because it was already. We were already on our way there. We already had several things going for us, and it's been run into the ground in 2 years. And watch your pocketbooks this winter. So anyway, that's my rant. More coffee. Oh, hey.
Vote for the betterment of the lodge.
We've got Ruben Fasthorse in the wings. Here we go.
Oh.
Boom. Oh, let me get this quote off of there. Boom. Good morning,
day,
Sue.
Good day. The Chia brothers.
Happy Sunday.
Yeah, happy Sunday.
The Chia brothers. The
Older
brothers.
So, yeah, I'm just coming on because I like to prep my classes after you. So
We're his warm-up show.
Yeah, that's for sure. So it helps. It helps kind of stimulate the mind and jockey the mind back into place and whatnot. It's really turning autumn out here. Finally.
Same here. We're getting red and gold. We've got one of those. We've got a few maple trees in our yard. We've got one that's the deep purpley eggplanty color looking, and then we've got one that's red in the background, the bright fire engine red. And we've got another one that's yellow. So we got. I didn't know why do maple trees have all those different shades?
That's
sugars.
cool. That's interesting to say that because here in New York we have what they call a Japanese maple, and it starts out maroon, and eventually changes colors, yellow, green, and back to maroon again. So
yeah, there's out Dave's window. Yeah.
Oh wow.
So that ain't nothing yet, Dave.
Oh, I know. Driving up through Wisconsin yesterday or Friday was so beautiful, just gorgeous colors.
Yeah, when I lived in Milwaukee, Dave, I used to go up to Door County And that was pretty wow effect. So it's kind of like that here. It reminds me a lot of Wisconsin and northern.
I love how you say that. Wisconsin.
You got to say it right. I was a Wisconsinite at one time, so everybody.
I read that Grumpy Stack as Japanese nipples because I didn't have my glasses on. I thought, what the hell is he talking about? I had to blow that up. Japanese maples. Got it.
Maples. Oh yeah.
Yeah, the maples. Got it.
I was going to say the Japanese nipples look like my eyes. They're more almond shaped.
Yes. All right. I've got an array of glasses here. Oh, I left my other ones upstairs. I got my glasses for every day, for driving, watching TV and stuff like that, which I can do. And then I got my glasses for, now I can read my screen. But then I did some drawing and painting last night for the book, and I've got to use my up close. These are just store-bought ones because I can see this far away. When I draw and paint, I'm like down here like this to get fine detail. And even my glasses, my bifocals won't even do that. I'm like, So, speaking of glasses.
Were we speaking of glasses?
I guess we were. Grumpy Stack will show us his Japanese nipples later. So,
too much fun.
Wait a minute. Everybody's
Maroons in Jamaica were ex-slaves like Spartacus who fled into the hills of Jamaica and resisted slavery. What the hell are you talking about, Matthew Sainsbury? I'm Spartacus, man. That was good humor. So
Sherman pushed south all the way to Jamaica and burned every island on the way.
Every island on the way. Wait, he was Roman. So kind of. No, he was, what was Spartacus? Scythian or something like that? I can't remember.
It's got a sort of a Greek sounding name, doesn't it?
Spartacus. I'm Spartacus.
I'm Spartacus a Spartan.
Oh.
I am biggest dickus.
and his wife incontinentia buttocks. And I don't know those references, folks.
And we've not slowly but quickly degraded. It's turned into Friday night show.
Yes. I must say to the public audience, I must apologize for Friday night's slow devolution into decay. No, actually, it was a hell of a lot of fun.
Slow.
And
it was like I was driving.
Slow. It just took a wicked left-hand turn somewhere. One thing was said,
and then it went.
I think it was said when Rainey sat down here on Friday night, and she said because she had just come home from taking our kids to the
football game,
the homecoming football game, and there was
where Rowan got into fisticuffs with some boy.
Rowan smacked some boy around for pushing her. Hi. And the first thing that was said that started us on that southward trend, Rainey sat down. She goes, "Oh, I'm late, by the way." And guys, we all know what that means.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what?
It went silent in that basement studio.
That's right. Hi, Bob Saget.
Hey, Bob Saget.
Bob Saget.
Bob Saget.
Okay, it's Bing Bong Bob Saget. That's what Mom said. Just to appease the masses.
His middle name is Bob.
That's my beard, not the cat. She's like, oh, you're so hard and coarse this morning. Do you know how to feed the kitty?
What's up, Ellie?
He doesn't have any cans left of the soft food. So if you would get him some of it in his pink bag, the kitty food, and there's a water bottle right there. Pour a little bit of water in it to moisten it for him. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Look who's here this morning.
Hey. Hi, love.
Hi.
You're late. You're late.
I am.
I told him how the conversation started to degrade on Friday.
Right.
So
It was good.
So,
Oh my God.
and that's that would be a keen trick, seeing as we're both fixed.
Right?
That would be immaculate.
Hasn't been 10 years yet. We don't have to worry for 10 more years. Well, like 7 or 8 more years.
Real? Well, what's that rule? Law of
They say
law of
after 10
years.
years, guys their stuff can grow back together.
Oh, well, I didn't know that.
God didn't want those things snipped. He's made a way around.
Yeah, he made a way.
Right?
So, hey, Rainy says, hey, there's Kelly. Hey, Kelly, how you doing? I met Kelly, God, 30 plus years ago when my mom was doing she still does, up here in Minneapolis, St. Paul. My mom had a karaoke business. And she would go to all these little pubs and restaurants, and she would do karaoke back 30 years ago, before it was the big, huge, craze it is nowadays. So Kelly was one of my mom's friends that attended all her shows and sang a lot and helped my mom out a lot and partied with my mom and did all that. So I've known Kelly for a very long time. And so it was nice of her to come in and say hi. She says, I'm good. I'm just waiting for football to be on. Yes, football.
Football's dumb. Sorry.
Rainey hates football.
I hate football.
So
Rowan likes it. She gets a chance to brawl a bit.
Yeah, that's
Rowan
right.
doesn't like football not one bit. She just likes to.
She goes to hang with her friends that are all there at the football game.
To brawl a bit.
So those of you who weren't here Friday, there was some boy older than Rowan.
A year older.
Around, slapping her on the back of the head and stuff with her friends, and she finally turned around and punched him or something, which
kicked him in the nads and gave him a good deck.
She kicked him in the nads, and then she came and told my mom. Can I go out and play today, Mom?
No, you gotta work. You got your chores to do.
I got chores to do. So isn't that true though, too? I'm sidelining here off of a sideline. We're guys. We're all in our 50s or 60s. We're independent men. We're men. And yet we got, honey, can I go out tonight? Honey, hey, you didn't do that thing I told you to do. We're subservient. We got Daniel Ondra called in.
I want you to remember that. The next time Flynn doesn't get something done and you say, you didn't get this done, because you all the time are like, oh, honey, I can do that later.
I can do that later. Oh, no, I don't go, I don't want to do that right now. I don't dare say that.
She'll beat
Than
your
I
ass.
am.
Scotty,
I don't want to do that right now. Flynn, why didn't you pick up your room like your mom asked?
Oh,
I didn't want to.
Door last night too, and fruit flies came out.
Fruit flies came out of his room last night.
Oh boy.
Now,
So what,
he doesn't live in filth. He just doesn't pick up. He goes against the rules and brings his dishes back there, but then leaves them. I swear to you, it was over a week ago. I told him, no, it was Monday morning a week ago, waking him up for school. Son, and when you're on your way up, get all your dishes out of here.
But he can truthfully say, when you're like, look at all these dirty dishes in the sink, he can say, they're not mine, Dad.
Not mine. Yeah.
I know where all mine are.
So when you
dishes and
you
cups
take
and
Scotty, when you take
Morning,
Rowan,
Daniel.
when you
Good
take
morning.
a fight,
Don't be shy. Just jump in.
football,
Right?
Sorry, Daniel, I've talked all over you since I said hello.
Oh, you're fine, man.
Go, Ruben. Ruben was making
I
a
was just
point.
going to say, so when you take Rowan to a fight, a football game breaks out, right?
Yeah, that's what happened. Some kid picking on her, and she finally kicked him in the nads, as we trained her to do. You know?
Scotty, did you ever?
I don't promote fighting with my kids, but if you're getting picked on, you defend yourself. And we've told her, you know, if somebody's going to pick on you and persistently pick on you, you let them know that this is what you get if you keep picking on me.
Yeah, she's a fierce little warrior woman. I'm completely proud of her for
Rainey
standing
looks
up for
cold.
herself.
Oh, cold.
I mean, where?
She might be.
Stillwater.
Hey, Ellie.
Maybe we'll start having sword drill on the front yard for a few weeks, and those boys will know don't F
Can you
with
get
these
Mom-
kids.
Are you cold?
As long as I have my sweater on and my feet don't touch the cement, I'm good.
Okay. Kelly said you look cold.
I am cold. I'm tired. I'm
She is.
sinusy today.
She is cold.
I slept with the window open and all the leaves.
Hey, Scotty, I got a question.
Yeah.
Ask me, Daniel.
Did you ever read that article I sent you?
Probably not because I don't remember which one it was. Did I? I may have opened it and looked at. Oh, is it the one on?
The one world currency?
I looked at it and I didn't have time to read it or listen to it, and I said, "I'm gonna."
Oh, man.
Somebody else sent that to me as well.
Trust me, dude. It's going to open your eyes up about a lot of things, man.
Yeah. And the only problem I have with all the articles out there is you like, who do you believe anymore? Because you get now, not believing my government has become a standard.
Of course.
What the government tells me. Well, then you go back to say, I liked Trump and I supported Trump. I
Right.
voted for Trump. Did I trust what he said? I trusted what the individual said. What I didn't trust was the operation around him, the mechanics around him, the mechanics of government. And so I look at everything I hear, and then I hear the opposite side coming out from people. And there's this fine balance we have to do now when we're trying to decide what information to take in, what information to process and assimilate, and then repeat, is whether or not that information is not an extreme going the other way or an extreme that way, that it's somebody who has said, look, connect the dots, guys. And that's where I heard about this article you sent me from two different people now. That this is something you have to connect the dots on. And I haven't, I'm sorry, I haven't had a chance to look at it.
Yeah, when you find time, make sure you read it, man, because like I said, it's very scary, and it'll definitely open your eyes up about a lot of things. And like I said, when I read it, man, it pissed me off, dude.
Yeah.
Like, it really pissed me off.
And this was the article. If I look up your email to me, there it is. It's this
I may have got
article.
one of those too.
I'm going to call up here. It's called the Social Credit System.
Yep.
CSQR-SMNU. And is there actually an article here, or is it I just see a chat room in here. It's like chats going back and forth. I don't actually.
I discovered this website on a thread here. I apologize.
Oh, this website. Is it the site can't be reached? So the link you sent me calls up a chat room now. Deny ignorance. It's above topsecret.com, but there's no link to the article. It's just a chat room. Is that what you directed me to? The comments that were going on, or the article itself?
Yeah, the one that actually found out the information. It's about him and what he found and this and that. And like I said, there's a lot of information in there that'll definitely make you open up your eyes about things.
Yeah,
I saved a video the other day on this thing. I'll try and forward it to you, Scott.
Please do.
It's pretty freaky.
Because this is wait, let me see if there's two different links here. Nope. It's just taking me to here, let me show you guys. If I were to present, not share, present my screen with you here. And if I go over here, I'll show you exactly what I'm getting now. I click on this, and that's what I'm getting. And then I click on, I recently discovered this website, and it takes me there.
Yeah, they probably taking it down because they don't want nobody to know the truth, man.
Yeah. And, well, we see that a lot. If it's getting taken down, and if it's getting censored and taken down, you know what that tells me? There's
probably real. Yeah.
Probably something to it.
Yeah.
So
I will look. I saved a video 2 days ago on the one world credit system thing that they're talking about. I will find it and forward it to you.
Matt Finn is talking about it here. Digital ID, a cashless system based on digital. Did you know we're on radio? There you go. As she storms upstairs, young woman that she is.
Was that
digital
Rowan or
ID.
Ellery?
And you know, what do you do when you're on radio? You talk to them, you discipline them, and all that off air. Then when they do it when you're on air, you're like, what do? Do I get up and discipline her in front of the nation?
Was that Ellie?
That was Ellie.
Wow, she sounded just like Rowan there for a minute.
Yeah, she did, didn't she?
Yeah.
Anyway, Matt Finn was saying digital ID, a cashless system based on digital tokens and a social credit system, is the final push for full societal control of the populace. The beast system of revelation, in my opinion.
They will be able to turn on and off your bank account if they so choose.
Yep. And you've already got, the Biden administration is already proposing going after our savings accounts now.
There's a bill on the floor, and I can't think what the number is. I could probably look it up.
Ellery, that's enough. Stop.
But yeah, they are moving to take control of our commerce in a big way.
I said, keep it going. I got to yell at Ellery for a second.
Oh, I'm like, you're muted again. I don't know what's going on. Yeah. Okay. We live in interesting times.
And hey Ruben, I got a question for you, because I seen something about this too in New York. Have you seen any Chinese police in New York?
No, you will not go now.
Come to think of it, no, I have not, to be honest.
Well, I seen something where they're saying that the Chinese police are already in New York.
Well, that's interesting. I haven't heard that. Maybe.
Yeah.
What kind of source point did they give for that? Did somebody just saw something, or?
They actually have pictures of the Chinese people, the Chinese police actually in New York. Somebody
were they in Chinatown?
Were they doing something official, some officious business, or? That's interesting. You know, and there's something to be said here too about
there's
all
fear mongering from both sides. You got to
there is fear mongering from both sides.
For sure.
I get that. But I am one who grew up. Remember, I was this sounds so banal to some people, but I grew up as a kid. I was not interested in politics. Not many kids are. I was interested in being entertained and playing. And so I grew up watching shows like Star Trek, which promoted this whole ideal. I don't call it a liberal ideal or a progressive ideal. There is an ideal of having a government that is utopian society, that where everybody, and as much as the show preached, well, we no longer have money. We push for advancing our knowledge and all of this, and not for filthy gain, as Captain Picard said once. And then I thought, yet they're constantly battling the internal bureaucracies of the Federation and stuff like that. So as that came out, you found that, well, that's a utopian ideal. That it was not what we actually reached in that future. But I always thought, why can't we all get along? It gets watered down too. Sorry, sweetie. Child, that's what this.
Now. I'm irritated. And I'm gonna kill her.
Come on back when you're not so irritated.
Now I'm not taking.
Yeah, our problem right now in this country is we have too much division. There's way too much division in our country right now.
Yeah. And,
way too much. Everybody just needs to start getting along, pull together. That way we can make this country what it's supposed to be.
And I'm all about that, because right now it's not what it's supposed to be. And I don't put that at the feet of any one man or any one party until I start looking at what are the ideals of that party. What are they putting forward? What are they saying is the solution? Because every party, well, I can't even put it as every party. We got two major parties. We got a bunch of little parties. So the major parties, they've all got corrupt people in them. We all know this. But it's come to sometimes determining which level of corruption can I live with and which can I not. It's the level of corruption that runs my country into the ground, and nobody's held responsible for that, is the level of corruption I do not stand for.
Right.
Now, have we had presidents in that have done good things for the country but have personal bad marks on their personal life? Sure. That happens all the time. You're never going to find a perfect man or woman for that job as president.
Correct.
What you're going to find is somebody who is flawed and admits that they're flawed and goes ahead and says, look, I've got my flaws, but I love my country and I'm going to do the best I can for my country. Then you have those that hide their flaws and use every momentous opportunity to cover their flaws, like right now. Sorry, I don't want to offend anybody listening out there, but I look at Joe Biden and I look at the way the White House and the complicit press cover for him. And I want to say, you know what that tells me about the party that's in power right now? They think America is stupid. They think we're all dumb, that we don't see things. You look at Joe Biden should have been Article 25 a long time ago. Not out of malice or hate or anything like that, but because the man is not fit for the office. And you know why that's important? Maybe not so much for all of us who are compassionate. Go, oh, he's got people around him. They'll run the country. Let's just keep old Joe going. It's because it's not being done because it's a smirch. It besmirches the party. Number one. Number two, the position Joe is in right now with his cognitive abilities. Guess who's looking at that? Not just Americans. I think there's a lot of things going on in the world that wouldn't be going on that affect us if we had a more, what's the word I'm looking for? Not powerful, a more erudite person in the office of president. Somebody who's got their finger on the pulse of how things work and can actually do something. What surprises me, though, and it shouldn't surprise any of us, really, I guess, when you think about it, is that we put this all on Joe Biden. We look at Joe Biden. Well, we all know Joe. Keep in mind, it ain't Joe Biden doing anything. It's the group of people that are there handling him and running the country behind the scenes of Joe Biden. Because Joe Biden ain't making any decisions. It's everybody else. So if you start looking at the way our country is going right now, the way the economy is going, our gas and everything, you put that all together, number one, it ain't Russia that's doing it. Number two, it wasn't COVID that affected gas prices. Maybe they'd have been everything. All of that might have affected us a few cents here and there. But right now, we just heard Joe Biden in the White House boasting about, well, gas prices have come down all summer long. Yeah, we went from a little bit over $4 a gallon here down to about, if we went to one town, we could drive 15 miles from here. We could get gas last week for $2.53 a gallon, $3.53 a gallon. That's how down that was at $3.68 here in my town. Well, yesterday we were $4 a week later. We're at $4 a gallon right now. Well, I'm sorry. That psychological 3.99 of a dollar is what it costs now. So $4 a gallon. And you look at this stuff, you say, who's running the show? We all know it isn't Joe Biden. So who's running us into the country? It's the administration that exists. It's the power structure that's in place. And then you got to ask, why are they running us why are they allowing us to be run into the country, into the ground like this? Because it's pushing agendas. Now, number one, maybe a green agenda is not such a bad thing in its ideal. but we aren't in a place to push a green agenda right now. And pushing that before its time, it's going to bankrupt America. And pretty soon, we aren't going to be America anymore because everybody's going to take advantage of our weakness out there in the world. And so, like I say, maybe there is an ideal, and there are certain parties and people in place in America that have an ideal about where we should be, and kumbaya and hold hands around the world. But I got to tell you what, there are other superpowers in this world that don't think that way. And they're the ones that will take advantage of our weakness. And right now, we are weaker than we have been in almost.
Scotty, the ones that are really in control are the elites, the people you do not hear about. They're the ones controlling this whole entire world.
Yeah, I agree.
Everything.
And so we need a SEAL Team 6 to take out the elites.
Yeah, we need something.
Why does it always come to violence? Because you can't stop them any other way. And you know what? You take them out, somebody else is going to step up into place. So, yeah, buy that electric car for the price of a house, says Susie Q. There, that'll solve the economy. You know what? I can't pay for gas for my current car right now. It's so expensive. Good thing I don't have to commute every day somewhere. I work at home. But we just drive the kids to school every day. We have to fill the tank maybe once a week with the different things that we do to run around. And now it's like we've got a Buick do we have a Rendezvous? Is that what we have? A Rendezvous, which is a newer car. But that tank, filling that 15-gallon tank, you do the math. What's 4 times 15? It's 60. So it costs us right now $60 to fill that tank. And where I remember now, this dates me, and this is probably not a proper comparison to make because of the time difference. But when I was a kid, when I was 11, 12 years old, I remember the Sinclair station with the little green dinosaur down at the end of the block. The Sinclair station was selling gas for 14 cents a gallon and 11 cents a gallon on, hey, we've got gas for the weekend. We're doing 11 cents a gallon. That was in like 1972, 73, just before the big. Is that me? Oh, I'm hearing somebody talking somewhere.
Sorry, that's me. I got.
Oh, no, that's okay.
For work. So
it sounded like it was coming from my phone. So 11 cents a gallon. Think about 11 cents a gallon. If I had 15 gallons, what would that be? Under $2 to fill your gas tank. Now it's 60. So gives you some point of perspective. And that's only in the last, what was that? That was 50 years ago. I'm 61, going on 62. So, that was 50 years ago. Doesn't seem that long ago in my memory, but that's what it was. But we've had times where even under Trump, what was our gas at under Trump? As we were starting to reclaim our own domestic oil production, we were $2 and just about down to, I think $2.38 was as high as it got under Trump. And it was starting to go down because we were drilling our own oil. And you know what? There's a big thing. Some of you in the chat room can comment on. There's a big thing about fossil fuels. Fossil fuels ain't fossil fuels. They're not exhaustible. Because I heard several years ago, now about 6-7 years ago, there is enough oil untapped sitting beneath Wyoming and Montana and into the Dakotas that you could drill oil there, and we've got enough at current rates of usage, enough to last 250 years at what's sitting there. Right
More
now.
than that, because it's a chemical process. It's a byproduct of the planet's tectonic plates that renews itself.
It renews itself. It's not fossil fuel. What we've thought was fossil fuel.
This is the thought of major geologists.
Yeah.
Not just my theory. I know people that work in the oil industry that are geologists, and they're like, this is not a fossil fuel type thing.
Yeah. Hey, I see PC sitting out in the wings wanting to come on. PC, why don't you go into the chat room? I have no idea who you are. So we have enough people flashing up things and causing trouble in this that I tend to avoid anybody I don't know over there. So if it's somebody I know or you want to introduce yourself, go over into the chat room and say hey to everybody. Tell them who you are, and I'll be able to see that. And then if I know who you are, I'll bring you in. So I trust everybody that's on the air with me right now. And so if you want to come on, folks, it's got to be somebody who's here, somebody who talks a little bit with us. Oh, wait, is that Preston Castile, by the way, PC? Maybe I do already know you. Here, let's give it the great test, folks. Preston, is that you? Preston.
You're muted.
You're muted, buddy.
Is that you? Calling Preston Castile. Red Dog 1 to Red Dog Squadron. Red Dog 1 to Red Dog Squadron. Preston Castile, are you here? Might not be. So I'll take him out of the studio for now. Call back if you want to get in. Hey, Delaney Pearl Jones. Good to see you. Every time I say Jones now, it's like, you call him Dr. Jones.
Yeah, Scotty, the job I had before the one I have now, I was driving 1,000 miles a week, spending $50 a day in gas.
Wow. What's that cost you now?
I can go through one tank of. I drive a 6.2 liter truck, but anyways, a full tank will last me almost 2 weeks now.
Wow.
Because I work so close to home, and it is nice.
Yeah. I like working at home. I don't have to go anywhere. And the older I get, the more reclusive I get.
Right.
Get off my grass. No, I'm liking. I like working at home because I don't like punching other people's clocks. And the only time I have to punch a clock is when a client tells me, hey, I need this job by Friday. And I go, okay, well, I'll get it done by Friday. So that's as close as I. Oh, it was Pearson. I'm currently muted. I clicked on it and I couldn't unmute you, so I thought the muting was on your end, Preston or Pearson. I keep wanting to call you Preston, and I don't know why. Mental thing. So, yeah. So every generation, we have one generation will say this country's going to hell in a handbasket, and we hear it all the time. I get that, but you got to look at what's going on. You got to look at what's going on with the economy. You got to say, who is going to best take care of the economy? And who's going to get us back to where we need to be? And people say, well, like they talk about the Republicans, like, well, they might have a good economic plan, but they're heartless and they're cold. And I said, no, I'm not a Republican, but I'm a conservative. And I look at that and I say, well, they're exactly what you're supposed to be in government. Government isn't about feel-goodism. It's like I heard that coming from people when Trump was running the second time. Oh, he's heartless and cold, and he's at that. And I say, you know what? That's not what a president isn't supposed to be there to be your feel-good, tickle your feet, and give you the warm fuzzies. That's not the president's job. The president's job is to run the country and to make sure the country doesn't fail, that the country grows, and take care of the things that the government is supposed to take care of, which is basically defending our borders. It's not about abortions.
They're not positions of power. They're positions of responsibility. You have a specific job to do. Do your damn job.
And I heard for a long time before Trump even ran, what we need is a president who can treat our country like a businessman. Then Trump comes along and says, I'll be a huckleberry. No, Trump came along and said, I will do that. And you know what? He was a businessman, and he didn't come into office to make you feel pretty about yourself. He didn't come into office to give you the warm fuzzies about anything. He came into office to say, I'm going to We called him the GSD president, get shit done. And sometimes you say, look, all of you worry about the emotional stuff and getting along together and all. I will run this country so you have an environment in which you can do that. One that has absolute freedom and liberty within the bounds of the constitutional law. I am here. What's the president supposed to do? Defend the Constitution. And so if you got a president defending the Constitution, you're going to have a country that runs well. You're going to have a country where people are free to do what they need to do. And right now, we are not in that position at all. We are getting further and further. Isn't it amazing to see how all it takes is 1.5 to 2 years to see us fall into decline and have the world rattling its sabers at us because they know we are weaker than shit. So that's the problem. And that's what I think a lot of people, and why doesn't the left just admit it? You're right. Our president needs to be removed and put into a home or sent home, and Jill can take care of him at home instead of on camera.
He spends every weekend in the home. I don't know what you're talking about.
Well, that's it. And I don't say that to be mean to, oh, you're so mean to President Biden. No, I'm not mean. I said at the very beginning, I've always said, and I've said it on this show before, I always liked Biden as a worthy opponent to some of the ideals that I stood for. He was a decent guy. Of course, this is all before he became president, and everybody's got to find every little chink in your armor when you're president. So before the pre-scandal-ridden Joe Biden existed in our public consciousness, I always found him a decent, respectable man. I never would have voted for him for president, though, because I disagreed with his ideals. Yet, when he started running, I said, there were a couple things I said. They have brought him kicking and screaming back into the presidency. I said he was vice president successfully, however you want to rate success, for 8 years. Retired. He's got his vice presidential library built. He's going fishing on the weekends. And all of that, he's done his bid for God and country. And then they brought him screaming and kicking back in because they felt he was the only one who could defeat Trump, which, by the way, I'm going to say in risk of being censured, I don't believe he beat Trump. So that's on the base level. But he won by the numbers. And so he's in. But I think Joe Biden should have retired. He was not in a position to be, I would say this about somebody I loved. Hey, you don't need to be doing that. So what you've got to think is, knowing the way our country runs, knowing the way things run, there were deals made behind the scenes. You take this, we'll make sure you win. You're going to be in office. And they made some kind of deal with Jill and Joe. They did. That you ride this out for 4 years and we'll take care of you. Your country will take care of you. They're patriotic in their own sense, but they won't use the word patriotic because that's a negative thing nowadays. You notice how the term being a patriot has now become a negative? You can't be a patriot anymore, according to some trains of thought out there, because being a patriot means something negative now. And so anyway, all that said, I think Joe, and I've said this before too, when his son, Bo, died, you saw it just took the wind out of his sails. I couldn't imagine of my two sons, if one of my sons, my oldest son, died and I was in business, I'd be worthless for a long time. And so I thought, Joe had the wind taken out of his sails. You know what they also say? When you're old and you have some, what's the cognitive disorder starting, that a trauma like that can take you down a couple of notches as well. I don't know what they call it, how they work it, but it's a psychologically known fact.
When my uncle passed away, I saw that in my grandparents.
Yeah. Well, you look at usually couples who are older and one of the couple dies. How long do you see before the other one usually passes too?
Yeah. 6
as a
months for my
standard
grandmother.
rule. So I saw Joe Biden as somebody who was done. He needed to be done. He needed to just have fun sitting on the porch of his presidential library, signing autographs, whatever, and going fishing, not running the country again. And which he never did well anyway. Even Obama said, Joe's a little out there. And I just saw Susie Q said Biden has no ideals. He's on camera admitting he tried lies many times over, like his father being a coal miner. There is. I think Biden has gotten worse in his old age, but it's been proven before that he has lied his way through many things. And now, one thing you can say, I'll say this about Trump. Has Trump lied? Or has Trump acted like a businessman? Trump's done things he's not. Has Trump talked about grabbing a woman by the pussy, as he said once on a camera that he didn't know was recording 20 years ago? Yeah, hell, I had people that I knew. Dave, you'll appreciate this. Maybe
I wasn't one of them.
You will too. All of you will appreciate this. I had people from my friends from the Renaissance Festival who are all on the left, and they're all decrying Trump for, I can't believe a man would talk that way about a woman. And a woman would say that, and I said, hey, I've sat around drinking and smoking with you and with others, and you're dirtier than that in a private conversation. Don't tell me that a man who's recorded saying something in private, that talking locker room talk, we talk locker room talk all the time, even now. Folks, I will confess.
Friday night show.
And during the show, if you were here on Friday, I got no problem talking locker room talk, and I ain't going to gauge ain't. I keep saying ain't. That's my way of coming down and being familiar with you plebes. But to use the word ain't. No, I have no problem with that. I would be, if I ran for presidency, hell yeah, I said I'd grab her by the pussy, but that was 20 years ago, and I didn't know I was being filmed, and I was talking locker room talk with a guy, which is what guys do. That's what we do. Somebody just dropped off. Who dropped off? Oh, Daniel. So, Carly Sagan, locker room talk is my favorite. Well, hang around and you'll get plenty of it here. So, anyway, I look at that stuff. Oh, and Trump, do you notice that everything they have ever tried to bring, I saw a graphic, a meme type graphic that listed everything they have used to, and followed up by saying, we got Trump now. Every one of those things failed because there was no truth to it.
No there there.
There was no there there. Now, was he impeached twice? Yeah. But look at who impeached him. Was he impeached as a general rule that the whole Congress and the nation wanted him out? No. He was impeached by a democratically controlled House, just about democratically controlled Senate. The Congress was controlled by one side of the equation, which to me starts to look more and more like taking out your political opponents. If that's what our country's coming to now, we're doing everything we can to take out a political opponent. Look at Trump right now. Trump's not even running for office. Now, we all assume he's going to. He hasn't announced it. He's not in office. He's not running for office, but he's on the tip of everybody's tongue. Why? Because they have to silence their opposition. And, there's some that's fair fighting that's out there, but they're doing everything they can to silence him. Why isn't he indicted yet? If he's guilty of something, why isn't he indicted? Well, we're still doing the investigation. Oh, you haven't raided his private home enough? Unprecedented raid of a former president's home because he's got papers you think he shouldn't have?
Which I just want to point out on that. No president packs up their office.
Yeah.
They have a team of people from the government that come in and pack up everything. So if there were papers put in those boxes that shouldn't have been there, that's the responsibility of that team to filter that stuff out.
Right.
It happens on every presidency. Every presidency after the fact, they come back and say, "Oh, we packed some papers we shouldn't have packed."
Yeah.
And they were going through that process. And again, so they were in the basement of at Mar-a-Lago, which I'm sure is like any other hotel basement.
Yep.
Okay. I can't imagine Trump spending his afternoon down there sifting through boxes on his own. I don't even know if he knows where the basement door is.
Yeah.
You know, looking at who Trump is. He has people for that.
He's got billionaires don't go down there and do that by themselves. What, sir? What are you doing in the basement today? Oh, I'm just sweeping up a little bit and packing my boxes. Bullshit.
So
what did he do?
It's disingenuous to say that he took these. I mean, they go through and they say anything that's in the desk goes in this box. Anything that's on this bookshelf goes in that box. Anything that's on this shelf goes in this box. And it's all hauled away.
In this box. Oh, look what we found spread all over the floor of his office. No, he didn't leave those spread on the floor of his office. Come on. What? And this is where I say to America, what kind of idiots are we if we believe that bullshit? So it's all you got. And do you have a press, a mainstream media that is complicit with a certain political ideology? Yes, you do.
Big time.
Yes, you do. That's why they complain so much about the one or two that are out there that don't go along with the narrative. So anyway, and I agree with you. Where'd he go? Lewis Boyce. Trump will win if he lives that long. The man's stress level is no doubt through the roof. I think
I'm surprised he hasn't been Hillaried.
Yeah. I can tell you what, I think it's been tried. We know of one or two attempts that were made. The guy.
And what's funny is I can say Hillaried and everybody knows exactly what I'm saying.
Everybody knows exactly what you're talking about. And and by the way, I put up a video. I don't know if it's still up, but a week or so ago about this is why the left, the left complaining about the election, the whole thing about election fraud. And complaining about Trump, complaining about election fraud, and how all these social media giants are out there telling you can't talk about election fraud, or we'll take your video down and demonetize it.
What's Stacey Abrams doing? What's Hillary doing? What's
that video?
It's an endless list of Democrats that lost their elections and blamed it on fraud or blamed it on they. I didn't really lose. They stole that from me. Okay, whatever.
Well, I put up this video starting with Hillary Clinton, and it goes on for like 20 minutes, just a collage of
just months ago she was saying she had the election
complaining about election fraud and how Trump stole the election in 2016. And you just look at that, and it's over and over and over again. There's a double standard out there. You say the election was stolen now, or there was a fraudulent election, you get censured, you get videos. I've had videos pulled. Even when I wasn't talking about it, somebody asked a question. And from 2 years ago and about 3 weeks ago, they pulled one of my videos saying you were promoting election fraud. No, I wasn't. And I wrote to them, and they did restore it. They apologized. But because
it's easier to censor than to actually look it up and see what's happening.
Complaining that Trump stole the election in 2016. And then it's all over the place. It's smattered everywhere. The press supports it. But you have a conservative talk anything about election fraud in 2020. Guess what happens? You get censured or censored. So, Pearson, you are still muted. I cannot unmute you. I can't unmute your guest because... Oh, that was you who did it. I just noticed your mute was up. So anyway.
Oh, we lost Ruben.
Yeah.
I know. Ruben, come on back. I realize I'm monopolizing the conversation, but it is my show. So
I just talk over you just like I do when I'm at your house.
Yeah, Dave just talks over me. So, Pearson, welcome.
Well,
Again, what's on your mind, brother?
well, I can honestly say I agree with you guys. I'm only 17, but you see it every day in the media how it's monopolized toward the left. The Facebook, YouTube, all of the media platforms that are big are monopolized toward the left and their opinions and viewpoints. And you
Yes.
gotta really think, about it. That's how everyone always talks about on the right, how everyone is manipulated into extreme ideas. But the more and more the left is showing their ideas without any opposition on social media being able to be seen by mainstream audiences, the more and more people are getting, especially young people, getting forced into these extremist ideals from the left. But you will never see an article like that on CNN or NBC or
Nope. That's because there's a
they
bias.
tend to do that.
Well,
And
and Pearson, I want you, since you're only 17, pay attention to what they say. The Democrats, the people on the right do this, or the left do this all the time, where they accuse the other people of doing a certain tact, and when you look at it, they are actually doing that themselves.
Yes.
Okay. They regularly, they almost everything they accused Trump of was things that they regularly do themselves. Now, part of it is I think they assume if we're doing it, they must be doing it. We just have to catch them doing it. And part of it is they project that on their opponents.
Yep. And it's not that there isn't any corruption or wrongdoing out there. The problem is when one side tries to paint themselves as puritanical.
Yeah,
exactly.
So I don't know.
Which is what Trump said. I'm going to shine a light on all this corruption. I don't care if you're Republican or Democrat. You're going down. We're going to shine a light on you. And that terrified Congress because they are all corrupt. The longer you're in Congress, the more corrupt you are. I believe that people go in there with the ideal that they're going to fix things, but the system is set up to corrupt you as quickly as possible. So we should not let people sit in that office for long term.
Yeah, any of those offices.
Yeah, and I've thought that for years.
Needs to be term limits in Congress too. 2 terms and that's it. 2 terms, you're out. Yeah. So do what you can do in 2 terms.
Yeah, because
it ain't a place for you to make a career for your life and make money off of the United States.
You want to be a career politician? Start out locally, serve a few years in your city government, then your state government, then go to federal government. Maybe you go from Congress to Senate, and then maybe run for president, but then you're out.
Yeah. By the way, Ruben also messaged me and said that he had to go get prepped for his show, his language class.
That's what I figured.
So he had to drop out. Matthew Sainsbury, you're here. Right. I've got you in. What's your contribution to this conversation?
Hi, good morning, guys. I was listening to what you were saying, Scotty, about Joe Biden. And I do agree, though, but loss does a lot of things to a lot of people, too, because even Abraham Lincoln, when he lost his first son, I think it was Edward, before he became president. And then when he became president, he had another son called William who also died as well. And he had to be both a father and a mother to Thomas or Tad. And even after Lincoln was assassinated, I noticed that Tad or Thomas didn't live too long afterwards. I think he died a couple of years later, 18 or something like that, So grief does a lot of things to people. So
it does.
I do believe, though, that America is at a really, I should say, a tipping point, because I think that is facing a new situation now with, a lot of internal conflicts about, about certain ideologies and things like that. And not only that, too, but even external things, because the situation with the war in Russia and Ukraine, too, is a very unpredictable thing. Because even, I think it was a few days ago, Vladimir Putin was saying that if the US get involved too much into this conflict, that he would use nuclear weapons or some nonsense, So,
and I'll tell you something, if Trump were in office, or a man like Trump were in office, that would not be tolerated, and that wouldn't be
No.
happening.
Yeah,
No, because
That's because they perceive us as having no strength to counter that. That's the way we're perceived right now. Is that there is a weak president, there's a weak hierarchy in the country, and when do enemies take advantage of you? Enemies of your state. Now we can negotiate with them and talk with them and trade with them and do all of that. They can still be ideological enemies of ours. We have we do business with Russia and China, obviously, but they both want to dominate us. So what will happen when you have a situation where you are weak enough that the other great powers are finding ways, they're finding the chinks in your armor and the ways that they can dominate you, they will do it.
Right. That's true, because I think Putin has been watching Biden very carefully and how he's handling the situation, because I just noticed that let's say when Trump was in power, I find that he wasn't so bold to make a move as what he's done so far, you see, but when he analyzed Biden, because there are times I do see Biden acting a bit senile in certain areas, like when he would go to certain places.
I'm glad you recognize it.
Yes,
everybody knows it. That's the big white elephant in the room in the United States.
Yes,
everybody knows he's not fit for office.
He's not fully into it.
No, he's not fit for office. But why do they
he turns
support
to
him?
shake hands with invisible people?
Because they know they're not supporting Biden. They're supporting the people that are supporting Biden. Is what they're doing by
they
supporting
know that
Biden. So
they know that Biden is not the strong link when it comes to the president office right now. They know that the people behind him are the strong link, and there isn't really much control we're putting over any of those people right now. And I've thought that ever since 2020, when that election started, we kind of sit back and we let our the country and the people that are running it are letting this happen to us. They're we're thought of as weak by Russia, and that's going to be something that's going to continue until somebody steps up and says enough of the fear mongering. We got to do something about that, because in 2020, a lot of what you would see from I can't remember when the strike. I think it was in February of 2019 or 2020 that Trump ordered a strike on that general. And that's the type of action that Biden would never take. And Trump said that Obama and Biden would not take that action. Somebody had to take that action, or else you had the type of thing that occurred with September 11th. We were sitting ducks up until then, and we opened ourselves up to that. That's what we gotta realize, is when we show that we're weak, we're the weak link. People are gonna take advantage of that from a military standpoint.
That's right. What do we see the world doing now? Russia and China, and how are they? What's their attitude about the United States right now? They know we are vulnerable because we are weak right now. We have weak leadership, and we're weak. And,
exactly.
So, anyway,
what do you think about the move that George W. Bush did against Saddam Hussein years ago? Because a lot of people say that what he did, like saying they had weapons of mass destruction.
It was an excuse. It was an excuse to make a move.
Well, but you also have to keep in mind there was a caravan of semis going from Iraq into Syria for 6 months prior to us invading. And so anything that had been there chemical weapon wise could have been transported out through Syria.
My late brother, friend of our family, I'll just call him my brother, was in military intelligence over there. And he was the one that pointed that out to me when that was happening. He said weapons of mass destruction. He said they exist. He says they're just not there anymore. And He pointed out one of the things he pointed out to me was the big caravan that for 6 months, like Dave just mentioned, going out of Iran or Iraq. And I was going to correct myself there, and I couldn't think of the Q.
I know it used to be called Mesopotamia in ancient times, so we know it as Iraq today.
Well, the whole region was Mesopotamia.
It's all Persia.
Yeah,
it's all Persia. So
Persia area, yeah, because
So,
Babylon was located by the Euphrates River, and you had
yeah,
the Assyrian Empire to the north, up there in Mosul, up there in its capital city was Nineveh. So
yeah, exactly. And yeah, I don't know where that brings us in this conversation, other than saying,
I really,
what's that?
I really thought, when we had the withdrawal last year, and the Taliban took back over, that was kind of a sign, that war wasn't the
Afghanistan.
greatest in the first place. That Afghanistan war was not, the greatest, but that withdrawal that we did, that clumsy, crazy withdrawal,
yeah,
that, it seemed like surrender. Like, it seemed more like running with our tails between our legs to me,
well,
is the impression that I got.
And Trump truly wanted to pull us out, but at the same time, the Pentagon is right. You can't just up and
He knew
leave.
how to
You
do
can't
it.
up and leave. You
No,
have
you
to
just
have a
can't.
plan.
No, you have to strategize first before you do something like that, because they were down there for years. They were down there since after 9/11 all the way through. I think we even have a person here in Barbados who also fought in the Afghan war too as well. So they were down there for a while. So then suddenly pack and run, because I saw a lot of people in the news who were living in Afghanistan, and they seem to feel more comfortable with the Taliban over them. And a lot of them now started to flee Afghanistan as America pulled out. I saw a lot of that on the news. Yeah.
Well, there was a plan that Trump had that they had not enacted yet to pull us out of there, but it couldn't be an overnight thing. Oh, we're gone now. There has to be an implemented plan. I've seen people in the military say when you do something like this, a withdrawal like that, there is an organized way you do it. You get out the personnel, you get out the your equipment, and then you finally pull out. And this was not done. So, and why we left billions of dollars worth of equipment in their hands, that is the thing that makes you say somebody had a deal. There was a deal going on, because you don't do that. Why the American people's trust in this administration didn't go down the toilet at that moment?
Yeah, there was.
I don't know. It's because memories are short. It lasted a couple of weeks and it was gone. In politics and things like that, and government, memories are short. But what did the president do? Was he defending the people of the United States, the interests of the United States? Was he defending the Constitution? Was he defending our economy by letting billions of dollars of equipment fall into the hands of somebody, of a terrorist organization and government? That right there is impeachable, if you ask me.
I mean,
so not a phone
it
call.
was like I said, running out with our tails between our legs.
Tail between your legs. Yeah. Because after the madness of
it's what it felt like to me.
Yeah, because after the madness of Hitler's Third Reich and all the foolishness they did across Europe and all that, and murdering all these people, the Americans and the other nations had not only made an international tribunal there, but I think they had left forces in Europe for a period of time to keep Europe, more stable and help Europe rebuild after all of that too. I think I heard about that.
Yeah. Susie Q, not quite sure what you mean by this. They also did that to make us look bad. Who did that? You mean the Biden White House did that to make us look bad to somebody? Or
I could sort of see that argument. I could sort of see that.
Why would they want us to look bad?
It makes the conservatives look bad. It doesn't make.
Well,
America, we're the evil people. We're the evil people. We're the imperialists. Blah blah blah. Because we have colonies all over the world.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Whatever.
Yeah. Imperial America.
Now, there are things, I mean,
Dave, take over for a minute. I'm going to go get some more coffee.
okay.
Yeah, okay.
Get me a
so-
cup too. I don't think we should still be in Germany. 50 years ago, we fought that war. We should come home.
Yeah.
You know, I don't think that we should still be in Japan. You know, I think our time there is done, and with the current fleet of aircraft carriers, we can put our forces anywhere in the world we want in a matter of minutes. I mean, not minutes to get there, but I mean, once we're on station, there's not a target in the world that we can't reach. And
That's true.
even during the last war, we had bombers that stationed out of the U.S. Our new bombers, we can fly out of the U.S., hit a target on the other side of the world, and come home. Okay, so we don't need like in World War II, our bombers didn't have that kind of range. We had to be in England in order to reach Germany, and that's not even that great of a distance. You know. We're not in that situation anymore. We can be at home in the U.S., have breakfast here, go out, fly to the other side of the world, drop your bombs, come back and have dinner. You know, and so we don't have to have bases everywhere. It's convenient to have bases everywhere, but with the modern day aircraft carriers and the modern day weaponry that we have, it's not a requirement in order for us to keep peace in the world or protect ourselves.
Or as policeman, yeah.
Yeah, and
because
I've really thought that. I've thought that, you know, why don't we put the troops where we're really needed? You know.
Well, exactly.
You know,
and
we have all these troops over here in Japan, and you know, like you said, and why
that's
you
a
know
lot of financial resources.
the conflict
to
with those countries is over.
Yeah, because in I think it was after the Cold War period, America and Britain had a military base. I think it's located Bentwaters in England, near Rendlesham Forest.
Yeah,
they had a base. Yeah, they have a base there, and the colonel there called Charles Hall and his crew, and so they actually witnessed a phenomenal extraterrestrial event because they actually saw a ship that came down there around Christmas in 1980, and so and it had like
that's true.
yeah, it had hieroglyphics on. And James Pedeston, one of the guys he actually came near the ship, and he was actually able to draw some of the details and so
like
what he
bacon.
saw. Yeah,
Tastes like bacon.
Yeah. Charles Hart wrote a memoir of his experience there at Rendlesham Forest because some people wanted to, you know, intimidate him about his
Read Peter Robbins' book, Left at East Gate.
Yeah. So
about Rendlesham.
You know,
because Hart
I
made
always
it known
wondered
that the experience was normal.
Yep.
What did you guys take from the Pentagon releasing all the videos of the UFOs back in 2020?
I think it's something they've always known, something that they release bit by bit. So, because it's becoming something that you can't deny anymore.
Yeah. Well, I don't doubt that there may be secret projects too that may be going on that they don't often want the audience to know about too. That also happens as well because there may be anti-gravity ships that being engineered and flown around like this that they don't want to reveal it. It could be that too, combination of both. So
there it is.
Yeah.
Well, anyway.
Yeah. I'm sorry that Ruben.
I got my coffee and I got some bacon while I was up there too.
Yeah. I'm sorry that Ruben Fasaurus had to step up because I wanted to ask him a question.
Masticating on air.
Yeah.
Masticating in your faces with my delicious looking bacon. This is Roger Rabbit. And it was delicious. Bacon and coffee, heart food.
Breakfast.
Indeed.
Yeah, I'm sorry that Ruben Fasaurus had to step up because I wanted to ask him a question about the Shoshone tribe, because I noticed that the Lakota and Shoshone had problems.
Yeah. Oh, Dave's
I
stepping
just
out
wanted
now.
to ask him about that.
He'll be back again.
Yeah.
Not today, but
Coffee. I'm
Yeah.
going to coffee.
That is extraordinarily good tasting coffee. You know what I think just happened? I had that piece of bacon, and that bacon did something to my taste buds. It livened them up. It invigorated them. Then I drank my coffee, and the coffee tasted better than before. So,
It does the same thing for scotch.
yes. That's something we used to get on John Warden about, Rocky Stucci and I, when we did the Situation Room, was John Ward masticating on air. He would eat chips on air and just crunch, crunch, crunch. We're like, John, stop. He says, I'm masticating. And we go, we know what you're doing. Stop doing it on air. So, coffee sounds good. Andrew, are you at the end of a long shift or the beginning of a new shift, or recovering from last night's shift over there in Montana? Montana. I'd live in Montana. I've thought about it.
Not me. Too cold.
Okay.
As Dave from Minnesota says. Montana's too cold. That's where our weather comes from, is out west. Oh, 12-hour overnight. End of a long shift. Gross. Are you still on shift or are you off shift now, Andrea? So, yeah, Montana's cold. The Dakotas are cold, but you know what? So's Minnesota. I do not know how Native American peoples hunkered down in that weather in the wintertime. Man, because it can get up to 70 degrees below zero with the wind chill, and you've got blizzards and snow and so I couldn't imagine. It's colder in Minnesota.
Makes you excited for winter.
Andrea's from Minnesota, Wisconsin, and she said it's colder in Minnesota, believe me, than it is in Montana. So there you go, Dave. You've been shot down.
What?
Swallowed my coffee crooked.
Minnesota, shorts and a jacket.
Shorts and a jacket. Yeah, that's pretty much it. I knew a guy that said he would wear his shorts every day of the year. He was like a UPS delivery guy, and he did.
Dan?
Yeah. And he did. So he never wore long pants.
The only time I didn't see him in shorts is when he's wearing a kilt.
Yep. Let's see. It's more humid in Minnesota during winter, which makes it more miserable. You're right, Andrew. Although it does get drier up here in the winter, it's more humid than Montana. And you combine humidity with heat, what do you get? Miserable. You combine humidity with cold, what do you get? Miserable. So that's why we like fall and spring up here.
Yeah. But this summer, in my opinion, was one of the hottest on record, because Europe had some very high record temperatures. Even UK, people are succumbing to the heat. I think it was a train station.
Yeah, it got hot in England. It went over 80 degrees. So
extremely hot. We even had it here in the Caribbean as well too. Very hot days. So
right. Well, in the Caribbean, it's supposed to be a little hot and a little humid. You can walk around in your Speedos and jump in the ocean.
That's why they went to Celsius, because it doesn't seem as bad when you say, "Oh, it's 40 degrees today."
That's right. Yeah, John Ward was talking about being in Egypt, and they're Europeans, so he says it's 55 degrees here and miserable. I said I'd take 55 degrees. That was when it was 90 here. So 55 over there is like 110 or something like that.
Oh God, it's hot. Yeah, because talking about Egypt, you ever heard of a professor called Dr. Bart Ehrman?
Doctor who?
Dr. Bart Ehrman.
Oh, Ehrman, yeah.
Yeah, he's doing a course now on Egypt and the Exodus. He's trying to see if there's any historical evidence of the story. He's been He
There
seems
is.
to be dating. Yeah, he seemed to be dating the Exodus around the time of Ramses II, but you believe that it is actually earlier, much earlier than that.
Ramses the second was too late in history. So
Yeah,
if he's
yeah.
using Ramses the second, he's going to find no historical evidence.
Mm-hmm.
The only evidence he's going to find is that the Bible said that the Israelites built the treasure cities of Pithom and Ramses.
Probably Ramses. You mentioned that, yeah.
So, which, by the way, is like saying it's like, well, the Israelites built Avaris, which is beneath Pi Ramses.
Hyksos capital.
So that's all the historians were doing. And you're talking about ancient historians, and a book that was rewritten in the 1,000 years after it happened. A book that was rewritten, which is what we have in the Old Testament today, the Septuagint. And what were they going by? They were going by what existed at the time and the knowledge they had. The Pharaoh of the Exodus, that he had the Hebrew slaves building the treasure cities of Pithom and Ramses. No, he didn't.
By Ramses, yeah.
It was Ramses II rebuilt or reclaimed the city of Avaris and made it into his treasure city. And if you look at history, what was Ramses II other than a huge, great usurper of things that were already built and scraping off the old names and images and putting his own on top of them? Which is fine. But that made him the greatest builder in ancient Egypt, and he wasn't.
He also did campaigns against the Hittites too in Syria.
Yeah.
I learned more.
Totally different thing, but talking about his that. But if you're talking about the Exodus, it's like we talked about not long ago. Ramses II reigned in the mid 1200s BC.
13th century BC.
So 13th century, the mid 1200s, and the Exodus, as I think the chronology places it and history places it, is in the mid 1400s, 200 years before Ramses was on the throne. Now, the interesting thing, and we talked about this once before, just a recap for those of you who've heard it and maybe heard it many times, is that after the 40 years of wandering, the nomadic wandering in the wilderness of the tribe of Israel, after the Exodus from Egypt, 40 years later, they started the conquest under Joshua. And Joshua, what was the first city they took? Was Jericho. And the walls came tumbling down. Well, the interesting thing about Jericho is that the tell in the middle of the city is the old city of Jericho, the mound of old ancient Jericho. And you can date the city back, but they've dated the destruction of Jericho to around 1405 BCE. And that nobody dwelt there for 800 years before there was another significant city built on top. And so you're looking at what's 800? You're looking at the 600s BCE before anything else was built there. And if the destruction took place in around 1405, is what they say of Jericho, how could the Exodus have taken place 150 years later under Ramses, and then the destruction of Jericho? It didn't happen that way.
True.
So you can look to archaeology like the destruction of Jericho to date your Exodus. Unless you're a denier that anything written in the book is the Old Testament is accurate. So there you go.
But I did agree with Bart Ehrman though when he talked about embellishments can happen over time too in history, because when he was talking about the size of the people that leave Egypt, about 2.5 million people, that was actually probably an embellishment. That is a much smaller number that may have left Egypt. So he made a very good sense.
The 2 million of us left Egypt.
Yeah.
Well, and it doesn't take that long. Look at in Lincoln's time, he was reviled the way Trump is.
Yeah.
Okay, and now he's our greatest president.
Greatest president ever. Yeah.
And such. So just it doesn't take very long for people to make of history what they want to make of history.
Yeah. Oh, Pearson's back.
Yay!
There he is.
Sorry about that, Scott.
That's okay. Happens to all of us.
You're there twice.
Yeah.
Oh, did it put me two of me in here?
Nope.
Yeah, I
Oh,
see
there
one
is.
site.
Here,
Yeah.
I gotta get one of you out of here. Hold on a second. Hopefully, it won't remove you both. I don't think it
Right,
will.
much better.
Nope. There you go.
All right. Excellent.
There we are.
Scotty, you did that like a professional. Like you know what you're doing.
Like I know
And
what
we-
I'm doing.
We know that's not the case.
Yeah, shut up over there, Dave. Here, watch this. Oh, how did that happen? Oh, there he is.
I did that. Yeah.
So
And
Oh, the power of the government. I can shut your voice down. Boom.
that's right. I'm sorry, you're not voting for my party. Oh, goodbye.
We're censoring you today.
Oh. So
Getting
I'm
too
sorry.
extreme.
You're speaking against the narrative. Goodbye.
We got an extreme party. Wait for the newest article on CNN.
Yep. That's pretty much it. I want to start the common sense party.
I was
But-
going to say the pizza party. I'm in
pizza
favor
party.
of the pizza party, man.
Are you for pineapples or no pineapples? that will be the determinant on whether or not we allow you in.
Yeah.
Oh boy,
You're
I'm in
the MF.
trouble.
That's what you is.
Oh, what's in a pineapple under the sea?
SpongeBob.
There it is. So, anyway, I think we've either reached a good lull in the conversation or
Yeah.
what. But what's everybody doing on Sunday today? Tomorrow's
Oh.
Monday.
I am going to empty the car out so I can take it to the garage tomorrow. So that'll be a
Gonna
2 or
empty the
3
car.
hour task. Scotty's seen my car. That's
I
no
have.
small task.
I have. That's okay though. But that's Dave's business. That's basically his office and his warehouse and his everything. He's in his car, even though he's got a warehouse. So, yeah, he hauls everything from cooking utensils to dueling utensils. So swords and spatulas.
I have an anvil in the back of my car because you never
And
know
an anvil.
when you need to hammer something out.
You never know. See ya, Andrea. She's going to sleep so she can go back to work again tonight.
Goodbye, Andrea.
12-hour shift she's doing over there.
Ooh.
She's a nurse. So
Yeah, I know that one.
She's like Florence Nightingale.
you know that
prettier.
Pearson, the 12-hour shift.
Did you
thing?
that?
Oh yeah, mom usually runs a 12 to 14 hour
Oh boy.
shift over. She's over
I had
the
a,
high department up here in Springfield, and I always
Not
go
a-
run.
Not unusual on a film set to go
Hey,
16 hours.
But sorry, I keep interrupting everybody. I don't mean to. I had a government agency just this last week ask me how many hours a week I work, and I said, "Ha!
I had that same question.
That right personal.
Yeah, how many hours a week do I work?" I said, "How many hours a week do I not work?" I said, "Look, I'm self-employed, so I said I'm on call all the time. If I have a client call me at 2 a.m., if they need something, I'm generally, hey, it's 2 a.m. Let me get some coffee and call you back, or I'm right there. I always tell people I'm available 24/7, and I do more work on weekends than I do on regular weekdays some months. And so I said, when do I work? What do they say about entrepreneurs? Entrepreneurs are the people who will work 80 hours a week so they don't have to work 40.
Yeah.
Meaning the average typical work week when you work for somebody is 40 hours. So we work 80 so we don't have to work for somebody else doing 40.
That's how Scotty and I met. I
It is.
took a call at midnight from somebody wanting commercials done, and they had a short window of time to get them done. By 2 a.m., we had put together a production team and were working forward on how we were going to start shooting midweek. And Scotty was brought in on that job to help us crank out a handful of commercials for a baseball team in no time at all, which we did.
Right. By the way, goodbye, Cordia. Nice to have you here today. Yeah, and it got to be that Dave's and my schedules were, you can get us at night, and I'm like, I don't like that because I'm a night owl, but I also started. I that's why I'd be a night owl, and I'd still get up at 6 a.m. Because and we were always available.
And I only sleep for 4 hours, so I would tell people, you can call me up till 4 a.m. and then you cannot call me until 8 a.m. So 4 a.m. to 8 a.m. that's a blackout. Yeah. You can't call me or ring my phone or do anything.
And I was doing a lot of work in advertising back then. So if I did an all-night project and I had an advertising agency, one of the agencies I did work for called me and said, "Hey, can you come into the office today?" Sure, I can. And you may have been up all night working on something else. But they paid me, what did they pay me back then? They paid me 90.
But you had to put pants on.
I'm talking 25 years ago. They were paying me $95 an hour to come in and work at this ad agency as a freelance. And the nice weeks were the weeks where I was there all week long. Sometimes they were like, what do we got you at, Scotty? We got you at 95 an hour? Yeah, we're done with you for today. So, on a project. I had a project, the goldfish crackers from Pepperidge Farm. I was called by an ad agency. This would have been in 1993. They called me up and they said, "Can you do an illustration for us? We need it tomorrow morning." And it was of the new goldfish cracker fish with the sunglasses, the Ray-Bans. I said, "Yeah, I can do that." And so I did it, and they said, "We've only got about $4,000 we can pay you." I said, "By tomorrow morning?" I said, "That's a little tough one, but I'll see what I can do." And I get off the phone, and you're like, "Yes, $4,000 in one day." That was like Steve Martin in the 70s when he did his white-suited stand-up comedic things. He said he was talking about the price of tickets to his show. He was doing a live show. And he said, "What did you all pay? $18 a ticket to come in? Let's see." And he gets out a calculator and he goes, "Let's see. How many people are seated here? What's my take?" And he starts doing that. He goes, "I know. I need to raise the prices to $1 million per ticket." And he takes this thing out. He goes, "One show, goodbye."
Very interesting.
So I need one of those jobs now. I need somebody to call me and say, "I need this overnight. Can you do it for $4,000? I'll see what I can do."
Which is so much better than Scotty and I sitting there going, if we could do 8 murals a month.
Yeah, if we could do 8 murals a month, we could make, it's like, what in the ever-loving hell, Bobby?
Sound like a ghost. Trying to play.
Yeah, that was. I pounded on the table, and there was somebody had a bowl sitting there. Thank goodness it didn't break on the concrete floor, because somebody didn't pick up their bowl and put it in the sink and rinse it out like they're supposed to. So it's behind Rainey's computer over there on the corner, which means a kid coming from the kid area over there walked it and set it there and didn't bring it up, didn't finish and carry it all the way upstairs. So anyway, I got to put the energy out. Everybody, do a collective for me. Do a collective energy. I'm serious about this. I could use a book illustration project this week to come in. Now, not the end of the week, but at the beginning of the week, I could use a book illustration project or some project like that, because I need to, our coffers.
We need a mural.
Our coffers are empty. Book illustration I can do right here. Mural I got to go out to do.
I know, but we need a mural too, because I can't help on the book illustration.
I don't want to water down my envisionment here, Dave.
Think about your brother, baby. Don't leave me starving.
So there we go. If you can help me manifest a book project this week, that would be nice. And then if I get the book project, we'll manifest a mural project as well. Well, we don't have to manifest one of those. We're going to do one right here on my office wall. So thank you, Spirit Heart. I could use that. All I got to do is believe that it'll happen. So I don't want to say, I think in this economy, just sticking with the political conversation we had earlier, Rainey and I are poorer than we have ever been in our lives. We've been together for 18 years, and we've had rough spots, but I've never been as poor as we feel right now. We don't look poor. Dave and I were just talking about that yesterday, because we're out there in the open and we do good work and people see our work. They all think I have people calling me asking for investment dollars for their new company. I'm like, dude, I got to tell you something. I said, I'm struggling to pay the electric bill this month, is what I tell them. I say, I don't have money to invest. We just look rich. So I will tell you this economy is killing us right now.
We're on the wealthy end of the white trash, though.
We're at the wealthy end of white trash. Yeah. So, we're the upper rung. It's like I say of Glenlivet. It's the upper rung of the lower ladder of scotches. So we're the Glenlivet of it. So thank you, Susie Q. I could use some work coming in this week. We have had a really dry couple of months, which really helped for the move.
As I always say, it comes down to our incomes comes from other people's expendable cash. And when the economy dries up, they don't have expendable cash. We don't have any cash.
That's it. And when I have book authors call me and have me illustrate books or do book covers, they're usually independent authors. It's not the publisher getting a hold of you. It's an independent author who wants their book illustrated. And I belong to several groups out on Facebook, illustrators groups and stuff like that. And they're absolutely dominated by people either working for the Singaporean sweatshops where they get $5 an illustration. Here in the United States, you pay anywhere from $250 to $450 per illustration, not $5 or $15. And so you've got competition with 200 other artists that say, I'll do that book for you for $35, the whole book. And you're like, what? I can't breathe on it for $35.
Yeah, that's crazy talk.
And that's part of the American economy, but that's how things have changed. So
what's the same thing as a banquet chef? People, you say, hey, I get $40 a place setting, and they're like, whoa, we can't. That's too much. And I'm like, well, food costs, and food is going up. Plus, I'm providing dishware and everything else. It's expensive.
Everything's expensive right now. Now my overhead can be abysmally low. I have to buy, yesterday, I did illustration work yesterday. And so I buy one of these, but this costs $20. I buy my pencils and my inks and my and I do something with my the way I do artwork nowadays for some of my own things.
He's turned invisible
on my Facebook page.
You hear his voice, but he's not there.
On my Facebook page, you may have seen the illustration I did yesterday. Well, it starts like this. I do an ink drawing like that. And then I do the rest digitally. I put in a digital, I painted the stars and the Milky Way and the grass and the cityscape and all of that I did digitally. And so,
and it's beautiful. I saw that this morning.
And that, and I'm just on this now because I'm on it, and it's my show. I can do whatever.
By this morning, I think it was like 3 a.m. But
yeah. Here's my. I'll share my screen with y'all, so I can show you. Now that's how it turned out.
Wow.
So there's the ink drawing you see right there, and the rest of this is digital painting.
That didn't exist on Friday.
Nope, it didn't exist yesterday morning. So yesterday I said, look, I got a little time now. I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to get another illustration done for the book, How to Be an Archaeologist. And this is the illustrate here. I'll just for fun, I'll read what this page says. When you look at that illustration, soon middle school came, then high school too. Homecoming was fun and football was cool. Phi Beta Kappa and the activities of college took a distinctive backseat to exploration and knowledge. You wanted to know things. You craved all the answers. You needed your bachelor's degree to advance your academic, educational, scholarly compliances in history, anthropology, geography, and the sciences. Even math and lit were stepping stone reliances that would ready you, steady you, and give you the tools to pursue your life's goal. You must follow the rules. Now, that's what that illustration is supposed to be showing.
I'm
He's
dying.
got his football. He's got his football thing, his books in his bag, looking at the stars, wishing, wondering, dreaming, and so
Nice.
on. And so that's what that's about. I'm going to stop sharing my screen now. Dave's dying. What did he do? Did he fall over? Dave?
Dave Potter.
Dave Potter. I think he died. He said he was dying. That's all I heard. Maybe he has to pee really bad. So, all of that to say, I was just showing you, this is the stuff. I have little overhead. I got to pay for paper. I got to pay for pens. I got to pay for pencils and erasers and stuff like that when I draw. And so my overhead's very low. And I need internet and, of course, you know, my programs and stuff like that. So, I think his connection died. His phone died.
Probably connection.
There he is. There he's back.
Phone died.
So my
Thought I had the
overhead's
tablet
low,
laying next to me.
and I make decent money when I illustrate a book. And not all my book illustrations are done this way, but I'm using this digital technology more and more and more. I've even got a second computer that is not hooked up since we moved. But that computer is my, it's a big tablet for drawing. It's a 17 by 25 tablet. And I interface with Photoshop. And so now I paid, what, $500 for that a year and a half ago. And I don't use it much yet. It got set up and I don't use it much.
Well, and that didn't even get into the fact that to have the Photoshop suite with Illustrator and InDesign and all that stuff, that's another, you know, what, $50 a month or whatever.
If you buy your individual programs through Adobe, Photoshop, Illustrator, all of that, they would cost you $1,300 a piece for those pieces of software. At least it used to. Now, for 12 years now, I have been on Adobe Creative Cloud. And I pay $52 and some odd cents every month. Comes out automatically. Have for the last 12 years. I mean, you can do the math. What's 12 times 52? You know, it's basically $650 a month, something like that, or a year. I've paid for 12 years, which is over $6,000. But you know what? For 12 years, what do you get for that $52 a month? I'm able to download every single program that they have, and it's usable and you get the updates for free. Every time there's an update, it updates you automatically. And I can do all my work right there. And I pay I don't see the big picture. I've spent that much money in the long run. I could have now bought all those programs, but then I'd also have to pay for all the updates as you go along for the new programs. So I look at it this way. I spend $52 and some change every month to have access to every Adobe program ever made. And
I'm sure there are months that we go by and we don't use everything, because I have the same situation. But and my focus is primarily on the editing, but when you need it, you need it. And when I'm there editing and I'm like, oh, I need to import this. Oh, it's in InDesign. I can do that because I pay for that privilege.
$52 exactly. That's a lot of money.
It is.
It is. And so right now I do, like I just designed Andy's book. I wrote his book and I designed it. And I designed it in InDesign, which is an Adobe product. I put it out to Adobe Acrobat to burn PDFs for the editor and so on. And it comes back to me. I can put it online in Adobe Dreamweaver. I've got Adobe Photoshop where I've done the cover design and any other bits of design that go back into InDesign for the layout. All those programs. I'm talking InDesign, Acrobat, Dreamweaver for building websites, Photoshop. Those 4 programs would cost me about $3,000 to $4,000 if I bought them outright.
Yep.
Now I've had all those programs for $52 a month for years. So that's the way I work it here.
And access to additional things too.
Yep. And we can call those same programs up on my wife's computer here because it's in my shop. So anyway, there you go. That's enough about that. But that's in talking about expense to live. The prices of doing work and illustration work. It used to be you had to pay an artist. And now, you know what I find with a lot of authors out there? Kind of rabbit trailing a little bit off of the main topic of this. A lot of authors out there, they want to find out, they want to publish their book and give it the best look and all of this and write the best story they can write, but they're not willing to pay more than $5 to $10 per illustration to some cheap place that's knocking it off in a sweatshop overseas. It's like, why are you willing to cheapen your book with cheap illustrations from people who don't really have talent? They've just learned how to use the technical side. And some of those people will come back and they go, I used this place from Fiverr and this artist sent me for $15, my illustrations. And it was about a lion and so on. And you know what they did? They copied pictures of Simba from the Lion King and incorporated them into their own really shitty looking backgrounds. Yeah. And it's like, wow, that's a really good Disney-esque looking lion against these shitty backgrounds you created.
And you're going to get to do.
And over there, they get away with that because the copyright laws aren't the same. But then they send it here and it's totally unusable. And why would you want to write a book and have a lion character in it that's a copy of Simba from the Lion? You want your own character. And so they're out there and they're like complaining, is there anybody that can fix these for me? Yeah, not for $15 an illustration, though. That's going to cost you $400 a piece. So Scott Allen asks,
better.
Scotty asks, what DPI do you scan your ink drawings into your computer? I just go 300. I go print resolution. I could go 600, and sometimes I have all depending on, and but I scan at 300 DPI, which is print resolution. So this picture I just showed you was 300 DPI.
It really depends on how the project's going to get used.
Right.
And, I'm the same way with a lot of the video stuff. There's different resolutions that I can do, but if it's only going to be seen on a computer screen, that's different than something that's going to be put up on a big screen in a movie theater.
Right.
Yeah, movie film.
Yeah, if it was going to television or a movie screen. Now, of course, a lot of your resolutions on TV computers, 72 DPI. You start going, well, I take that back. You can get higher resolution on the computer. Online, I'm thinking, 72 DPI. I can throw a 300 DPI illustration up on the computer, and it's going to be enormous, and people have to shrink it down to look at it, which is fine. It tightens the resolution. Do you tickle your scanner to get better quality, says Grumpy Stack? No. My scanner is already aware of the consequences if I don't get what I need.
Yeah. That's what all the dents on the side
it's
are from.
It's a negative reinforcement. So, So, anyway.
We show it pictures from the movie, what is that film called? Where I want to say The Office, but that's the TV show. Where they take the printer out to the field and destroy it.
Wasn't that The Office?
No, it's not The Office. It's called something else.
Yeah, they take the computer out to the field, which was a box back when they filmed that, a computer.
Yeah.
No flat screens anymore, or back then.
It was just a printer, and they just beat the crap out of it.
They beat the crap out of it. Boy. And I'll tell you, I've gone through the very first computer I used to design with was an Apple IIci. And that was a step up from, I think, the Apple IIs or I or something like that. You remember the original Apple computers where you could do graphics? They were tall, skinny towers with a little screen on it in black and white.
Yeah.
And then they went to whoosh. They went to the IIci was full color. This was in 1989 or 90. 1990. I saw this ad. I was working as a creative director in an ad agency in Detroit. And I saw this ad in a magazine. It was a two-page spread, and it showed a burger, like a Whopper from Burger King, spread over the two-page spread. And the one page showed it drawn out in magic marker, the way we always used to do layouts, magic marker layouts, with hand-filled in type. And this side, it showed a photo of the burger with typeset and everything. And I don't remember the headline, but it was like, which one would you rather be doing right now? You want to be coloring with markers, or do you want to do this right on screen and create a finished-looking product right away? And it was Apple. 1 second, baby. And it was Apple. And I said to my boss came to me and he said, now this is, mind you, this is 1990. This gives you an idea.
Yeah, good one.
You can hire an assistant for $26,000. Okay, this was back in 1990. You can hire an assistant for $26,000, or you can get that computer system, because I presented it to him, because it was about the same amount of money at the time. And I said, I don't need an assistant if I've got this. And so we bought it. That's the first I used. But the computer that came in, it was a 17-inch monitor. So they measure monitors diagonally. So it was about that size.
With size
but it was about, if you turned it sideways, it was about that deep. The thing was like a boat anchor. It weighed a ton.
50 pounds easy.
Oh, my God, 50 pounds.
They were crazy heavy.
Scott Allen says, I primarily use Photoshop, After Effects, and Premiere. I don't use After Effects and Premiere as much, but I use Photoshop primarily. The illustration I just showed you was all Photoshop. Pen and ink drawing scanned into Photoshop.
I've been switching over to Premiere because Adobe had the best editing project out, or program out there with Final Cut, and then they dumbed it down
in a couple of minutes
and screwed it up. So I've had to go to Premiere. I was just thinking, Scotty, back in the day when you and I started, we were still clip arting things, so you'd cut out previously drawn things and then wax them and stick them onto the blue checkered paper and all that kind of stuff. Remember all those days of waxing? And
did you have? I came from rubber cement. It used to be you get your typeset, you'd have to send it out to a typographer. Then it would come back. Your galleys would come back on the slick photo paper, and you'd have to cut out, and then you would take rubber cement and wipe it all over the back, and then you'd stick it onto your layout, and you'd have to use, your
we had a waxer.
Square it all up. We moved up from. I'm older than you. We moved as technology advanced. We had waxers, and it was a little machine where you just stick your galley in there. You still had to send the type out. You stick the galley in there, and it would run through and be waxed, sticky wax on the back.
So you could
line that up, and then you could reposition it, which was nice.
Remember Letraset letters?
Yep.
These were
you scribble the letters off.
All the fonts that you can imagine on a computer, printed onto plastic sheets with wax coating, so that you could take a stylus and rub them off onto paper. And one letter at a time. One letter at a time.
Yeah. And then, of course, when we hit modern technology, I was doing waxing even at the ad agency where I was when I saw that computer.
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
that's where we moved up from waxing. In 1990, we moved up to the 2CI, which then printed out our complete designs. It's like, oh, you got to be kidding me.
The difference between Scotty and I, and the reason I don't do illustration work, is because in 1990, he went into the computer and I was still waxing and Letraset and all that stuff.
Yeah.
By the time we shifted, we were so far behind the 8 ball that I was.
And now I'm on the cutting edge of technology. I can lay out a whole book right here from cover. Right. I could illustrate on the computer. I wouldn't even have to draw it by hand. I could illustrate on the computer. And by the way, people who illustrate on the computer are not better than people with talent to draw. I will tell you something. It still takes an innate talent to know what you're doing and to know how to use color and composition and line work and all of that, it still requires somebody who knows what the hell they're doing.
Well, and
to
I think
create
the
something
reason
good
you're
digitally
successful
on
as
the
you are
computer.
is because you still draw things by hand and still do the artwork and then import it into the computer to augment it.
Right.
Right.
Well, I got Pearson is back. I didn't even see that. And guys, technically we're overtime. We usually end by 11 o'clock on Sunday. So start saying your goodbyes.
Yeah, okay.
So Matthew, good to see you. Thanks for being here. We'll see you tomorrow night. And Pearson, you're muted, but if you want to say something, you got about 10 seconds to do it. And then we're out of here. So
We're still muted. So I'm assuming not.
Maybe not.
Good seeing you again, though, young man.
Maybe that's the old one. Okay. Removed. Uncle Dave, good to see you. I'll see you here tomorrow. You coming over here tomorrow?
Okay. So theoretically, the car will go in early in the morning. And as soon as it's fixed, then I will head up.
Don't worry about it until you're ready. So
get Rainy moved. Get Rainy moved. That's the important thing. Move that floor should be dry by now.
We've already done most of that. So
okay.
I haven't put anything on the new floors yet because I wanted it to be bone dry before I start scraping desks across the floor of the
But don't scrape them. Lift and drop.
Oh, yeah, it's got to be lifted. So that's a lot of stuff I can't do. Because
it's going to take, I would say you'd want that floor to cure for a month before you drag stuff across it.
Yeah. But setting things in it will be okay. I just need a second person because I can't always just lift those things up and over the paint anymore.
Maybe John will come over and help you just move stuff in there.
Yeah, I can do that. I can lift it by myself. I just can't lift it without like walking it. You take a
cabinet. But that's why I'm saying call John. See if John can come over and you could lift the bookcases, set them down. Lift
Frankly,
the desk,
Rainey can do that. Rainey's stronger than John. I hope you're
listening, John. Okay. Well, Flint could help you too.
We got to get out of here.
All right. Love you, bro.
Love you too. See you later. All right, folks. That's it. That's all we got for today. We ran 10 minutes overtime. No. Yeah, we did. 10 minutes overtime. Exactly. And so we're going to get out of here. Remember, Monday through Friday, 9 p.m. Central Standard for the Intrepid radio program. So you know what? All of you have a good Sunday. Live long and prosper.